This is the It's Just That podcast, brought to you by Alpaca, growth strategists. It's just that are potentially the three most negative words in the English language, at least where business is concerned. In this podcast, we are going to be exploring some of the backstories of our favourite clients, local business people and prominent entrepreneurs, and exploring a little bit more about what's stopping them from achieving the things they dream about. For us, it was buying that Ferrari. For them, who knows? We'll be sitting down in a Ferrari, having a drive around in a Ferrari, and talking to them about their art of the possible, the things they want to achieve but thought they couldn't. Here we are with the It's Just That podcast. Today we are going to be picking up Anna Ashford and Rob Ashall of Alpaca and All Legal, cheating a little bit with a couple of businesses from within the Alpaca cinematic universe. Oh, here we are. Morning.
Hello.
Sorry, Rob, you got to get in the back.
Oh, thanks.
There's loads of room.
This is going to be fun.
I took the child seats out.
4-seater.
It is a 4-seater.
Oh. It's going to jump very nimble.
Oh my god, you're going to have no knees left. Ouch!
Oh, yeah, it does that. Anna, you might have to stop. It'll eat you.
What's it worth?
My feet. That's what it's worth.
I think I'm pressing the wrong button.
Not helping. Not helping.
Absolutely not
Keep it professional. Keep it professional, everybody said. So, thank you for indulging me. This is the It's Just That podcast. We're going to spend about 10 minutes exploring a bit of your backstory, Anna, and then we're going to get into the possibly three most negative words in the English language. The It's Just That. It's that thing that is stopping you from either cracking on with an opportunity or solving a problem. The I would love to do, it's just that I can't for some reason. We're cheating a little bit today because clearly you're from the Alpaca cinematic universe. You head up All Legal, one of our brands, and squished in the back, Rob, you helped me co-found Alpaca. So it seemed a bit self-indulgent, but we thought we'd do this and explain what was going on and why we were here. So it's kind of over to you, Anna, really. It's the what's your backstory and how did you end up sitting in a Ferrari with me on a sunny Tuesday afternoon?
That's a very good question. Backstory, where do I start? Grew up in Kent and went to university in Leeds, studied law, wanted to move somewhere far away from home. That sounds terrible. Wanting to not for any kind of sinister reasons.
Moving swiftly on, having worked together for a good few years, we only realised about 3 days ago that we were actually at university at the same time.
At university at the same time and on various of the same trips, staying in the same youth hostels.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, I was telling a tale and Anna went, was that a really weird youth hostel in Edinburgh? Like
The church, the converted church with the orange tarpaulin roof.
I was there too.
Yes.
Oh, gosh. How many people were on this trip and you didn't know each other then?
Oh, hundreds.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
we were in different years, weren't we?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
you know what it's like when you're kids. You don't socialise with the year above.
No.
They're totally not cool.
We were far too cool to hang around with the younger kids.
Yeah.
So yeah, went to university in Leeds, studied law, and loved living there. So applied for training contracts, focused on staying in Leeds, and worked at DLA Piper, or Dib Lupton also, as it was then, showing my age. Did my training contract, qualified into insolvency and restructuring, which I did for about 14 years.
That's when good businesses go bad.
Exactly. They have a terrible reputation for being the kind of undertakers and what have you. I'd like to put a more positive spin on the world of restructuring, which is that it's actually life support and saving businesses rather than just killing them.
Not that there's anything wrong with undertakers.
Also, nothing wrong with that. Hi, Sarah. I've got to stop the Right. in amongst that time, I spent a year on secondment working at RBS in their restructuring team, which was not as exciting as that. I spent a year at RBS in their restructuring team, which was actually during the credit crunch, so a fairly eye-opening time to be working there. I had a great time at DLA, fantastic experience, clients, business, etc. But bluntly, started a family and the two just weren't compatible, not for want of trying, but it wasn't compatible. So
we obviously have a similar-ish backstory in both having worked in Big Law. Everybody keeps telling me that world is changing. I'm sure it is, but it doesn't feel like it's changed that much yet.
No,
it's not easy to work in a big law firm and have the temerity to want to see your children from time to time.
yes, it's a choice. It's a choice that you make, apparently, to have children, and that's not allowed to impact on anything else that you do at work. I think it is changing, but I think it's still got a very long way to go. It's come from a much more traditional past, what am I trying to say? I think that as we stand now, the legal profession still has an awful long way to go to catch up with other professional services, accountancy, for example. I think they are a lot more forward thinking and have been for quite some time, so I think it's changing, but it's coming from a much lower starting point, if that makes sense. So fundamentally I got to the point where it wasn't working, it wasn't fun, it wasn't enjoyable, and I didn't feel like I was actually managing to run any parts of my life like I'd want them to. It just wasn't fun, and it felt miserable spending so much time somewhere which was no longer fun or fulfilling, or where you didn't feel valued because you, like you say, have the temerity to have kids and work a different pattern to the norm. So left DLA, spent quite a few months thinking about what I wanted to do. Did I still want to be a lawyer? Sat and pondered what else I could do. Decided I did want to be a lawyer, but doing it in a different way, not within that, the traditional confines of
Doing law differently.
Doing law differently. Squealing.
Is that a thing?
Squealing law, I'm not sure. I heard this morning that there is such a thing as ASMR law, which if your kids are old enough to watch TikTok, they might be into ASMR, which is
ASMR law, isn't that like people chewing in your ear or something?
Yes, apparently.
What's that got to do with law?
Well, apparently it's people kind of reading contracts or delivering advice in an ASMR.
Is there such a
Whilst
thing?
eating crisps?
But maybe I haven't watched
Am I
it
adding
yet.
the crisp bit in? Is that?
No, that
crisps?
is ASMR. Yeah. Well, that's what certainly my 10-year-old has
Is that
taken
mandatory?
ASMR to mean.
Right.
She'll get food in her mouth and come and eat it in my ear.
Yeah,
and
my
tell
kids
me
do that, and it is
ASMR.
hilarious. Yeah, I'm not sure they're aware of ASMR. They just think it's hilarious crunching in your ear, but they've never done it whilst reading a contract.
No, well, now. I think she thinks she's exactly. She thinks she's got, carte blanche to do it because it's got a name. It's ASMR. It's not just disgusting. It's ASMR.
We're told there's such a thing as lawfluencers, as in an influencer in law. So lawfluencers.
A lawfluencer.
I'm sure that's a made-up thing. but-
I can see
Yeah,
that.
I'm going to do a whole series now of the Lawfluencer podcast.
Maybe that's what this could go.
I bagged the Ian McCann. I've also not gone where I wanted to go, so this will be interesting.
We're going to end up in Scunthorpe.
Of all the places we can end up, yes, we can end up in Scunthorpe if you like.
This might just be my terrible geography. I've no idea where we are. brought up and working in an environment where, you know, it was, everything had to be copper bottomed, gold plated, every I dotted, T crossed, you know, perfection effectively for the client, which there absolutely is a space for. But for the vast majority of kind of SME businesses, that isn't actually what they're looking for.
Right.
From speaking to them, it's very much a case of, how do we get this done? We want to get the deal done. I don't want to spend, you know, shed loads of cash on getting an all singing, all dancing contract if actually you can get it done for me in a more practical, commercial way.
Yeah.
So, spent a couple of years working for myself with businesses, and it was great. But
You found us.
I found you. It got lonely. It got lonely working by myself. My husband would come home and find me rocking at the kitchen table at the end of the day because I'd not spoken to anyone.
I think I embellish this story slightly every time I tell it. But I distinctly remember meeting you in a Costa in Wetherby.
It was
Full
Wetherby.
circle, back
It
in
was
Wetherby now.
Wetherby,
In
yeah.
Wetherby, ordering the biggest pot of coffee I think I've ever seen, which was just obscene.
It was a bucket with two handles.
Mrs. Overall's kind of tottered out with this bucket, but they said, "Do you want a large?" And we both went, "Yeah, a large is a good idea." I was like, holy cow, that's it. But I do remember you almost coming across the table at me when we talked about employment, and you will not going to be employed, which I think speaks again to some of those behaviours that you talked about seeing in law firms.
Yeah.
It's not the being employed, it's what being employed meant when you're in one of those law firms. So if we fast forward a bit, you came and joined Alpaca, and then what we've done over the course of the pandemic is pull out the bit that we did, which was legal, given it its own name again, and Alt Legal's kind of reborn with you heading it up. Is it less lonely?
Yeah, it's less lonely, although obviously we've had various lockdowns where you fall back into that routine of not speaking to people as much, but I think hopefully that's all behind us and that won't happen again. So no, it's the complete opposite. It's not lonely at all. We're kind of surrounded by the team with a real kind of emphasis on having the team working together, closely together across different disciplines and practice areas and expertises and clients, so that, you know, clients get the benefit of a real kind of 360 view of their problems and their issues and their challenges.
So, what is different about Alt Legal? Because every law firm says it's different. Every law firm says it's sorry, Rob, a trusted commercial partner.
Oh, I prefer trusted advisors.
Trusted advisor.
Trusted advisor.
No. But everybody's casting around for that phrase to try and explain what they do differently. What does Alt Legal do differently? Is it different?
It is different, and it has massive aspirations to be even more different.
Differenter.
But I think, much like we were talking about the fact that law firms have started from a much lower base in terms of modernising, I think customer service, transparency, fee transparency, all those kinds of things, which you look at other service industries and they've nailed them.
Yeah.
And I think that the legal profession is so far from still nailing that to pinch a phrase I heard someone else say, it doesn't take much to be better than shit, if I'm allowed to say that.
No, you're not allowed to swear. No swearing. Should have started with that.
It ruins the podcast ratings.
Oh really? Okay.
No, yeah.
It doesn't take much to be better than terrible.
Yeah.
And just little things, speaking to your client, keeping them in the loop, keeping them updated, even if nothing has happened, that is an update.
Slightly disingenuous, because clearly is occasionally still a lawyer, but that one did radio silence. It's not just law. I accept it's not just law, but my God, we're terrible at that as a profession.
We are, and I don't know why. I don't know why. It's almost like there's a module on how not to communicate properly, when you're at law school, or something built into your training contract. But somehow that really basic level of human communication seems to just disappear when people put their lawyer hat or lawyer jacket on, and I know what's going on.
It's like a fear. Yeah, it's like a fear, isn't it? It's
definitely a fear, isn't it? It's wanting to always give good news and positive news, and it's if I don't have that to give, I'll just do nothing instead.
Yeah. But so often that backfires. Like, I haven't said anything, so the client can't be mad at me. The client's now more cross because they've got no idea what's going on, and the lawyer sat at their desk going, "But you're on my to-do list. You're at number 6 on my to-do list."
Red light.
The client's got.
Sorry.
What was that?
It was a red light. I wasn't sure if you'd seen it. Sorry.
Okay, welcome to our new podcast.
Learning to drive.
Anna points out the street furniture. God, what's that one then?
I have no idea. Radio silence.
Radio silence, yeah. Why the radio silence? Why are we afraid of our clients?
I think you're right, Rob. I think the fear of not having positive news to deliver. But then you then fall into that, well, who's deciding if it's positive news or not? Actually, if I tell you that your lease negotiations have stalled because the landlord has an issue with X, if I tell you that, then you can go and speak directly to your landlord and see if you can figure out why he doesn't want to talk to us or engage with us about X, rather than it just sitting on the pile and I'll chase again in a week's time. So so much of it seems like absolute common sense, and comes back to that phrase of it doesn't take much to be better than rubbish.
It's not the world's catchiest strapline, but I can see.
Well, especially now you're not letting me swear.
No, swear, go for it. But I can see where you're coming from. How you sum that up to a client is a tricky thing. Working without legal is different, but it probably can't be summed up in a couple of catchy straplines. Clients know it if they've worked with us. Yeah.
It's a bit like we talk about what it's like being an employee at Alt Legal, and the fact that the flexibility, the being treated as a grown-up, the being valued as a member of the team, even if you don't work full-time in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
All those things are a given for us, and the way we treat the team, because that's the right thing to do. And I think probably it's been a number of years since coming out of Big Law that a lot of these things we've talked about, the communication, fixed fees, transparency around costs, those kinds of things, for me feel like a given. Why wouldn't you be upfront about what we're doing? Why wouldn't you be upfront about what we're not going to do, so that there's no nasty surprises at the end? Why wouldn't you let your client know what is or isn't happening on their matter? So those things almost feel like a given, but I suspect from speaking to clients and their experiences with other law firms, it probably isn't.
Yeah, still. It's that misconception of customer service, isn't it?
Yeah.
Most lawyers, to give us our dues, want to help.
Yes.
But don't necessarily know what good customer service looks like. So as you said, that quest for perfection, the client hasn't paid for perfection, but we feel like we should give it.
Yeah.
You somehow end up with a mismatch. So
I'm just upset we're now sat behind a tractor.
Sat behind a tractor, and
I want to squeal more.
That's going in the trailer.
I did just shake my head as soon as that came out.
Oh, why have we done this?
Why have we done this?
Because I wanted to drive a Ferrari. I thought you do. I needed an excuse. I need to get into your It's Just That, because we've gone more than 10 minutes, so...
yeah, I opened the timer. I didn't press start.
Yeah, see? This is what happens, you see.
Then my phone fell off into the other seat and I
You
forgot.
had one job.
I know, sorry.
One job.
One job.
Are you doing that for effect?
No, I'm really not. The sunglasses fall off now. You should hear me on roller coasters.
I don't think I want to.
I went on it was like a kids one, and I was sat next to this teenage girl that I didn't know, that Isabel was on the other side to me, and I had to apologise to this teenage girl at the end of it because I'd literally screamed that much in her ear, and I'd been on this thing 5 times before, so I knew exactly what was coming. It's just a reflex action. I can't help it.
So is that your It's Just That then? What's the premise of this? Let's buy a Ferrari, let's go out and talk to people, clients getting coffee in cars. Rob's got a coffee. Should have bought one with cup holders.
I know, yes.
We need to get into your issue, the unsolvable problem, the thing that's on your too hard pile, or the opportunity that's not getting tapped.
Yeah.
Either or, there's something that is just out of grasp, but you're going, it's that. It's just that. So what's that for you?
I think it's getting the message across to lawyers that there is another way of working, and that you can work and be really credible as a lawyer, have fantastic clients, do really complex work, but not do it in that very traditional office in the city centre, in a suit buttoned up to here, don't you dare take your tie off kind of a thing.
Would you still be a good lawyer if you didn't have a tie?
Yes. Unequivocally, yes.
Bold, I'll give you that.
Yes.
But that's it. I mean, sorry, but that's it. That's your It's Just That. It's as hard as we need to convince lawyers that you can have fun being a lawyer and still be credible.
Yes. Yes.
Why is that hard? Why is it hard to convince lawyers? I mean, I'm poking the bear because I know it is, but why is it? It shouldn't be hard.
It shouldn't be hard. It shouldn't be hard, and to be honest, you speak to... I can't concentrate when you do that.
Do what?
No, well, I thought it was about to go.
That was...
I thought you were about to put your foot
just
down.
driving.
That was just driving.
I'm still waiting for you. I'm panicking now because at any point you're going to scream that there's a tree, red light, bush, human.
Just didn't think you'd seen the red light.
Always best to
was
be
helping.
safe. Yeah.
Speed camera hidden by tree.
Yes.
Genuinely speed camera hidden by
genuinely
tree.
speed
Okay.
camera. Yeah, but now I'm panicked because the speed limit's 60, so I'm definitely okay. But now I'm really nervous. There's a lot going on in here. I've got a boot warning light that I'm pretty sure is fake, but still my brain is going boots open, boots open. It's not boots open.
Nope.
It's definitely doesn't appear. We'll see it if it opens. We will finish this piece at some point.
Okay.
Why is that so hard?
I don't know. I wish I knew. I think there's lots of factors. It's, a traditional profession. Lawyers, it's probably one of the oldest professions in the world, and when you look historically at who became a lawyer and how they practiced law and how they were kind of revered or hated, within the community, they are on a bit of a pedestal, which they may have put themselves on, but I think there is a pedestal.
I brought my own pedestal.
Yeah.
It's like a very lawyerly thing to do.
See, all I can think now is Alan Partridge bringing his own big dinner plate.
So our lawyers have brought their own pedestals. They put themselves on it.
Yes. And consumer. Oh look, we're back at the office. Didn't know that.
Office? Oh god, I've just got visions now of that Harry Enfield sketch from the early 90s. Tree. Trees. And those aliens that just came to Earth and just travelled around with tree. Yeah, one of my favourite stories. I embellish it again every time I tell it, but I did nearly get fired from my last job in Big Law because, huge long story, but I basically emailed a client to ask them if my wife, who also worked at that firm, could take a day off. And then one of the very senior partners called me the next day, and I always remember it because that's kind of what he said. You're bloody lucky that client was just a commercial manager, not a lawyer. And I remember saying at the time, why is that relevant? Well, because if she was a lawyer, she would have known what you'd done. I'm 12 years on, I'm going, I don't know what it is I did. I emailed her and said, is it okay if my wife has Monday off because I know she's working on a really big project and I've booked a surprise holiday? Would that cause a problem? And the client went, no, not at all. She was in America. It's Labour Day over here. None of us will be here. And if it's the surprise I think it is, best of luck. And it was. And she sent us a wedding present. I'd got a surprise trip planned to propose to my wife. But the partners at the firm called me up and said, yeah, there'll be blood running down the A1 if I tell the senior partner what you've done. And honestly, at the time, I was sitting there going, I haven't got a clue what I've done. But it was that. It was, you have communicated in a human-esque manner with someone who is a layperson.
You've let that facade drop, that you are actually human.
Yeah.
While sitting on that pedestal.
So how do we take away their pedestal? How do we change that? Why are we sat in a Ferrari trying to change that? What do you need to do to convince lawyers that there is another way of doing law? And I'm assuming, if I digress for a minute, you haven't mentioned clients yet. Are they the easy ones? Do they get it?
Yes, largely yes. The types of clients that we love working with, we talk about enlightened SMEs, the kind of the business owners that are themselves looking at how they run their business in the best way, and that isn't always about just the bottom line and the profitability. For a lot of businesses, it's actually a much wider piece around how they fit into their community, the wider world, how they look after their people, their suppliers, their customers and clients, etc. So actually, I think for us to demonstrate those same sorts of values with those sorts of clients, and for those clients where they treat their people well, they would prefer to engage with a human that understands law and understands their business than a robot or somebody that's too scared to get off the pedestal to give any sort of what do we give? What am I trying to say? Opinion to give any sort of opinion. I don't know how editable that is.
Obviously more difficult to do than you think.
I can't speak now. What am I trying to say? Yeah, I think.
Wow. You might need to stop the petrol, Richard.
Sorry. Just give me a moment. This is just too easy, isn't it? Yeah, I think clients do get it, and to be honest, we ask for so much feedback from clients about what it is they want, what it is they don't want, what works, what doesn't, what would make it even better. And interestingly, a lot of that feedback is around the fact that we talk to them about their business and take the time to understand their business, and not just at a superficial level, not just so that, great, I can now draft you this supply contract or this employment contract or these terms and conditions, but actually really understanding their business
to chip in at some point with your favourite phrase.
Not trusted advisor again.
No, it's about the client's risk appetite, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah. Rather than imposing our risk appetite on the client,
Yes.
understanding theirs and applying it to the
Yes.
situation.
That's exactly that.
So often you see that from lawyers. Oh, I wouldn't do that. It's a bit scary. It's a bit scary for you, the lawyer, but not necessarily scary for the client. What are we saying? Are we saying that no lawyers get it? They're not out there, or are they out there? They just do those lawyers not know we exist, or do those lawyers not know they exist?
That's a good question.
Existential.
Do you know what?
If a tree falls in the office, in the office, if a tree falls in the office,
I really hope not.
If a tree falls in a forest, does it know it's a tree?
Yes. No, I think it's a bit of both. I think that what we fundamentally need to break through is that kind of barrier of the pedestals. I've never talked about pedestals before, but it's becoming quite clear. I think it's just this wall of pedestals.
Wall of pedestals.
I don't know what the collective noun for pedestals is. But that's the problem. It's just that there is a wall of pedestals which lawyers are too afraid to get off, because it's been drummed into them from the day they started their law degree that
An ivory.
an ivory.
Is it an ivory?
It's an ivory
of
pedestal.
pedestals.
Oh yes, it's an ivory of pedestals. They've had it drummed into them from the day they've started their law degree, or the day they've started their training contract or apprenticeship, or whatever it is, that there is a certain way that lawyers have to communicate and have to be seen. You know, pillars of community, the suit, all of that. It is this facade that must not be broken. And why? Absolutely, why can it not be broken?
That's the why. It's just that.
It's
how
just
do we
that.
how do we fix that? I keep saying these things that there's no moment of aha doing these at live. You know?
Oh, I wish there was.
I'd not thought of that.
Did you not? I thought you did that on
I'd not
purpose.
thought of the
I
poetry
did.
connotations. Aha! I've invented socks. But we've got to try, given that this is a self-indulgent episode where we can actually do
Yeah.
whatever it is we come up with. We come up with an idea, we can do it, we can try it. How are we going to convince those people?
It's continuing to shout and get the message out, collaborate with other lawyers, other...
Shout, let it all out. That's not aha, is it?
No, that's simple minds. Maybe we need to...
It's another podcast. We've gone back to the 80s here. Jesus, George, it's wonder I was even born.
We need to collaborate with those lawfluencers who are out there.
Collaborate with
Lawfluencers who are out there shouting about the fact that law can be different. Getting our clients to shout about it, because I think actually I don't think it matters how much we shout about it. It's your bob off of work moment. I think until the clients actually tell their lawyers that they're happy for them to be humans, they're happy for them to have a family, to have interests outside of the legal profession, and want them to be interested in their business. You know, our clients have told us that. They want us to be more involved. They want us to ask more questions, have more conversations, and give them that kind of sounding board that they really need, because quite often it's lonely running a business. And
so we need to get some of those old legal clients
we do
sat where you're sat sitting,
and
shamelessly ask them to tell the world that we're amazing.
Yeah.
And we have no pedestals.
We have no pedestals, and they like us for it even more. There is the aha moment. That's what we need to do.
There is. I wonder if we could dub some aha over the top of this. Or do we have the budget for that?
Maybe we just have the cartridge aha instead, the low rent version.
Aha!
the reason I've stopped is you have to have a go.
Okay. You sure?
No, frankly, after the last 20 minutes, no, I'm actually not. I wish I'd brought earplugs.
I thought it was going to be a comment about the driving.
I know I trust your driving, but
It's make you wonder how your brain works. It's suddenly just going along a tree.
Remind me, how do I open this so I don't
use
break
the
it?
handle. Right, your turn,
my
Anna.
goodness. Right.
So the first test is the handbrake challenge.
It's
Okay.
off already, so
Is it?
well, I can't see the light. So yes.
It says park.
But
Is that not the...
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Hang
I
on.
couldn't see it from here.
I just spent the whole of yesterday getting used to driving an electric car. And now I've got
This
to
is-
drive.
this is-
Welcome to 1995.
This is not an electric car. It is 1994.
Right.
So the handbrake challenge. This is a handle down. I mean, right, your right hand side. So, yeah, no,
No. Fail?
no, fail. So there is a knack to it, but it's quite difficult to describe because essentially it's lift it up, but not up, just up, and then down.
But my sort of
Oh.
theory is almost push it into the carpet, like go all the way
Yeah.
down.
Oh, there you go.
Oh!
So you see,
So did I
that's
pass that
that's
first
way.
test?
Well, no, because it took what 3 or 4 attempts. But thanks to Rob's
Yeah, but
excellent description.
Excellent. Thank you, Rob.
I'm a better teacher than Richard. That's what you just
Oh,
thought.
hang on, I better put my foot on the clutch. That
Yeah,
might
use the
help.
clutch.
Oh my
Yes,
god.
not an electric car.
Not an electric car. Gonna have to take these off because they keep...
You really should have them on
Whacking
for
the
this bit.
ceiling.
It's,
Okay.
no, you do what you like,
Oh,
but
no.
it's, surely if ever you were going to put them on,
This is the
now
moment.
would be the
isn't it?
moment. So, did you pass your test first time?
I did.
What were you driving?
My mum's Ford Escort.
Oh, Ford Escort. Oh, sorry, I
Yeah.
nerd out on Escorts.
Do
Part
you?
1, 2, 3. What year? Red light.
Thank you. I can still remember the number plate. It was an E-Reg.
Oh right, okay, yeah, classic.
The old shape, probably. Original shape?
No, very
No,
much not the
okay,
original
very
shape.
much not. Right.
E-Reg.
Okay.
And what was your first car?
Well, I then had another Escort, which was my mum's again, which she then kind of let me use when I was at university. So my first, officially my car, was an Audi TT, convertible.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. That surprised you both, didn't it?
Well, only because I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but many of our conversations start with you going, "This is going to sound terribly middle class," but and then it involves Waitrose or Ocado or draining the pool or something. Yeah, it's going to sound terribly middle class. My first car was an Audi TT. Fourth's no good.
Okay,
Second
sorry.
or third, full partridge.
Oh. Can I really drop down into second without blowing this up? Okay. Woo. Oh my god. Here we go.
There you go.
That's where I had a Thelma and Louise moment because I couldn't see the brow of the hill. I imagined I was going to go shooting off the top.
We're not going that fast, and there is a road in front of us. This is not Back to the Future.
Oh,
Keep going. There'll be a bridge there.
Right. Yes.
Pop quiz. What was the name of the ravine?
In Thelma and Louise.
No, in Back to the Future.
Oh.
You
the
claim to be an
ravine.
expert. Yes.
What ravine?
Well, it's in Back to the Future 3, where they have to cross. If you hit 88 miles an hour, the bridge will be there. You're not thinking fourth dimensionally. What was the name of the ravine?
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, come on, it's
I
the
don't
Shonash
know.
Ravine. But they called it the Clayton Ravine because Clara Clayton fell into it. The rumour that a school teacher fell into the ravine in the 1880s.
Oh, and that's who Doc married.
So she never falls into it, so it continues being called Shonash Ravine.
Who knew?
Also, I've just remembered, Tears for Fears was Shout, Let It All Out. So not
Yes.
Aha.
Or Simple Minds, as I said.
Yes,
Yeah.
that would probably neatly sum up the three of us at this point, though, wouldn't it? Work
Okay.
together.
Okay, ready? This is so much fun.
See, but you didn't want to do this.
I didn't want to do this.
When I said, let's buy a Ferrari, You pretended to be up for it, and it wasn't until we'd had it for quite some time that you went, I was not up for this at all, and now I am.
I think I was still sitting on my lawyer's pedestal thinking, what will people think if I drive a Ferrari?
That's what the PR people said, although it was more along the lines of, oh good God, no. No. you can't. You can't do this. You can't have a Ferrari. What will people think? The last 2 years, the optics.
Yes.
The optics. Was that even a word 5 years ago? Where did optics come from? That used to be the stuff you had behind the bar.
The same place as lawfluencers.
Lawfluencers, yeah. The optics of the lawfluence.
And ASMR.
Yeah.
But it is that's the thing, isn't it? Because it's like when we go back to sitting with the marketing agency, which is about Alpaca, and saying I'd rather 2 people out of 10 love it than 10 going, yeah. And it's the same with the Ferrari. It's like, if the people we want to work with get it, then I'm up for that much more than everybody just thinking it's a bit blur.
Yeah.
Or a bit vanilla. It's just like, you will get it if you get it.
So come on then, why are we sitting in this Ferrari? Why, as lawyers and alpacas, are we driving up and down the side of the A1 in this Ferrari?
True story. I always promised myself I would have a Ferrari by the time I was 40. Embarrassingly so. There are people that I was at university with that I haven't seen for 10 years and then got wedding cards from that said, you got your Ferrari yet? And I hadn't realised how big a part of this, my psyche, this thing was. But it was a thing. From the age of 2 or 3, I always wanted a Ferrari. It's car mad, but it had to be a Ferrari. And it didn't have to be a red one, because it wasn't about what other people thought. It was about me as a petrol head knowing that I'd owned a Ferrari. And I can't afford one. I genuinely can't afford one. Couldn't figure out a way to get one. And we were having a conversation about, this is where It's Just That came from. And it's genuine. This wasn't back-formed.
I am listening.
Not bloody listening.
But that's quite fun.
And it really was a conversation with someone where this came up and I said it and they went, buy one. And I said, it's just that I can't afford one. Oh God, I've said it now. And the challenge was then laid down. It's like, well, go on then. If Alpaca are so good at solving problems, there's your It's Just That. You've just said you can't afford a Ferrari. What do you do about it?
So what did you do?
Well, we bought one. We figured it out a way. we sat down. I sat down. There's 4 words that most people in Alpaca hate hearing, which is, I've had an idea. And I said, okay, so what if we buy a Ferrari, we run it as a pool car for 6 months, we film some podcasts, we take some clients out in it, we go have coffee, we use it as a business networking tool, we take clients out, we let the team use it, go pick your kids up from school in it, genuinely use it as a pool car, and just have it for shits and giggles. The last 2 years has been horrendous. What if it put a smile on someone's face? Let's just do it. And so brass tacks, money. This thing, not a cheap car.
How much was it? Dare I ask?
Took a friend of mine out in it and he went, oh, what does one of these set you back now? It's 25 years old. Probably about 25 grand this. I was like,
the rest.
£75,000. £75,000.
Seriously?
Yes.
Shit, now I'm really scared. I wish I hadn't asked
The
that.
bonnet is worth 20 grand. Don't sit on it.
Yeah, don't bend that.
Don't bend the bonnet. £75,000, which you go, as a human, me, Christ, I can't afford. You probably could just about mortgage something and pay the finance, but there's no way in hell I'm ever going to do it.
Yeah.
You can't, I just couldn't justify it. As a business, £75,000 is not that much. It's still a lot of money, but it's not break the bank expensive. But you don't pay for it up front. So we put a £5,000 deposit down and we pay just under £1,000 a month on finance to run this thing. The person that we bought it from will buy it back from us at the end for about £5,000 less than we paid for it.
Wow. Okay.
So let's assume that my maths is wrong. We put a few more miles than we expected, and let's say we have it for 6 months. It costs us £6,000.
Yeah.
What would a business of our size pay in marketing costs, in PR costs, in SEO, in LinkedIn. It's not that much money. If I took what this will cost us and split it up and gave that amount of money to every member of our team,
Yeah.
I've worked this out, they'd get £33 a month each. Well, thanks. What am I going to get?
Like your Graze box.
Yeah, a Starbucks, or you're not even getting a meal out with your family.
Yeah.
Whereas everyone at Alpaca has had a go in this. They've gone and picked their kids up from school in it. They've gone and taken clients out. We have genuinely now got clients on LinkedIn going, can I have a go? Can I come out and go? Like, that is why we did it. One, it's fun. Life's too short. You want to break down those pedestals? It's fun. It's human. It breaks. The boot warning light is still on, even now. It's human, despite being a machine.
Like our lawyers.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I like that. It's human, despite being a machine. And that gave us the perfect hook to then talk to those clients about, well, what's your it's just that? What is your thing that you and I know we call it the French pile? Because everyone has a too hard pile, and you got quite snippy with me one day. Well, it's not on the too hard pile, Richard. It's just that.
This sounds like
I haven't had time to get around to it.
This sounds like one of your stories that's got embellished again.
Well, you were there.
No.
It's not on the too hard pile. It's just that.
It's not on the too hard pile because it's not too hard.
It's just on another pile.
Yeah, of things that are not too hard. I just haven't got round to them yet because there's something else going on. Because they're too hard. So that's the hook, to go talk to those people and go, we want those business owners who are prepared to come and sit in this car and share. And say that you don't have to give away any state secrets, but what is that thing you're sat on? As you said, it's a lonely business running a business. It's a lonely place running a business.
Yeah.
What are those issues that you're sat there as a business owner that you never have the time to sit down and think about? And worse, when you bounce them off someone, they all fall into that very human trap of nodding and smiling. I'd love to do this, it's just that I can't do X. People go, oh yeah, I see. And it takes someone going, no, I don't see.
Yeah.
I don't see why that's too hard. I don't see why you can't get rid of the wall of pedestals. We've got half an hour in this car where you've got nowhere to hide. Let's challenge some of those ideas, really dig deep into it and go, so what would you do if you had to? What would you do if someone said your life depends on breaking down that wall of pedestals? It's an unlikely life-saving moment, I'll grant you. It's not pretentious. It's a Ferrari, and people immediately go, oh my gosh, it's a Ferrari, they'll be so precious about it. I took it to an event and parked it up, and there were people out there with their auto glue polishing their cars, appalled that I'd got 2 car seats in the back, 2 kids climbing out the back, eating a pack of popcorn, going, Dad's got a Ferrari. It's like, it's a bloody car. Use it for business, use it as a hook, use it as a metaphor, but no pedestals.
No pedestals.
This is the bit I can't do. I never know how to end them. No pedestals. And on
Just fade.
And on that